how is the US market handover that we are getting in? As of now, Nifty implied is indicating a positive start.
Yes.
But do we have a positive handover from the global markets?
Absolutely, looking positive from the US. You don't have big moves coming in, but nonetheless, all three indices have ended the day yesterday, in fact, with a positive note. So let me take you through what the global handover is looking like. Good morning. Let's kickstart the show with the US handover then. US stock futures were a little changed last night after the major averages closed higher to the start of the second half of 2024. Tech stocks, as usual, continued to outperform. Wall Street is coming off a positive session for the benchmarks. The Nasdaq gained almost 0.8% to close at a record high. S&P 500 rose 0.3%. Meanwhile, you had Dow that added a 0.1%, a 50-point uptick coming in for that index as well. Investors are now deliberating whether the strong start to the year can continue in the second half of 2024 as well. While mega-cap tech stocks continue to outperform, you have bearish market observers. They're worrying about the poor breadth that could signal some choppiness ahead. Now remember, today Fed Chair Jerome Powell, he is going to be speaking at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, which is US time, before a policy panel at the European Central Bank Forum. The central bank leader will be a part of a panel discussion and will not be issuing prepared remarks beforehand. So any commentary that comes will be very interesting to note and watch for. He will also be joining ECB President Christine Lagarde on this panel. So some very exciting commentary on the inflation status of both the European Central Bank as well as the US and the Fed Reserve in particular can be observed at this panel discussion today. Now, when it comes to data, the May job openings and labor turnover report is also out later in the day today. Economists polled by Dow Jones anticipate the number of job openings last month to be 7.9 million, down from 8.1 million in April. Markets will end trading early tomorrow and will be closed on Thursday on account of that 4th of July holiday. And on Friday, investors will get an insight into the labor market with the June jobs report. You also have the JOLTS, job opening data today, like I told you about. So that was largely the handover coming in from the US markets. Positive moves coming in. Dow slightly underperforming both of its peers, but closing in the positive nonetheless. Let's shift focus, talk about what European markets have done, and it's a green across the screen for European markets as well. You have DAX that has ended the day with 0.3% gain. FTSE has ended flat, just a 2-point uptick, but in the green nonetheless. And Stock 600 has reversed the negative sentiment that it had been seeing over all of these sessions in the past, has closed for the day with an uptick of 0.3%. And French election is the biggest cue that has aided these markets yesterday. And remember, 2 days later, on the 4th of July, we also have the UK election coming up. So lots to watch out for when it comes to European markets as well. But well, yes, that sums up the global handover coming in this morning, at least on the equity side. When you take us through what's been happening with the world of crude?
Lot of excitement there because crude surely saw a very sharp jump up. Look at Brent crude oil right now trading at $86, above that mark, $86 per barrel mark, which is I think the highest level that we've seen somewhere since April. Last overnight it was a good jump up of more than 2%. Right now also it's trading with gains of more than 1/10 to 0.2%. So Brent crude oil comfortably above that $83 per barrel mark that we saw last night. And obviously what is interesting also is that, like you were mentioning, 4th of July, so that holiday, everyone's expecting an increase in terms of demand due to these northern hemisphere summer driving season, and the conflict in Middle East still continues. So that is a concern that comes in terms of the global supply, oil supply. How is that shaping up? And that is why the spike up that we saw in oil prices, almost near a 2-month high is what we could say. The Brent crude oil prices are trading at $86.6 per barrel mark as of now. WTI crude oil also somewhere about the $83 per barrel mark. Now let's move on, and obviously let's not forget that a lot of focus also comes in terms of increase in terms of geopolitical risk that is there, and in terms of the increase of demand for energy. That is a concern that everyone's keeping an eye out on. So yes, Brent crude oil, WTI crude oil, spike up in the prices that we are seeing just ahead of the 4th of July holiday that we'll be watching out for in the US. But other than that, when you're looking at it in terms of the gold prices, where is gold headed? Gold is also seeing a mild bit of an uptick today. What everyone is watching out for is those jobs data that will be coming in the US market. $2,341 per barrel, per ounce, I beg your pardon, is what gold is trading at. Silver also shining a bit in trade, 0.2% of uptick this morning. So yes, that's how the commodity is looking like. Brent crude oil surely seeing a sharp spike up today. and that's what we'll be keeping an eye out on. If this continues till the 4th of July or even after the 4th of July, then a significant spike up is a key factor that we'll be watching out for. Already trading at a 2-month high is what the Brent crude oil is doing.
Crude reaching new highs every day, and let's see if that momentum can be sustained. With that, let's also take a look at the important cues to watch out for today. Like we mentioned, from the US, you have the JOLTS job opening data coming in. Eurozone, you have very important CPI print coming out today along with unemployment data, so watch out for that. Let's shift focus back home, talk about some corporate action and board meetings taking place today. Epigral Limited and Automotive Stampings will be having their AGMs, annual general meetings today. CDSL board will mull bonus issue today, so watch out for that and any announcement on that front. Bajaj Consumer Care buyback will be happening today, and Oil India will be trading X bonus in the ratio 1:2, so watch out for that stock as well. In terms of the primary markets, you do have one IPO making its D Street debut today, and that's Allied Blenders and Distillers. So we'll keep a close eye on how that IPO is listing on the bourses today. Lock-in period is going to be ending for Radiant Cash Management, wherein 20% equity comes out of lock-in. And well, yes, lots happening on the geopolitical front and the global front as well, where you have various commentaries coming out. Like I mentioned, Fed Chair Jerome Powell, you have ECB's Christine Lagarde. Also with that, you have ECB's Isabel Schnabel all set to speak, and you have China's Xi Jinping expected to attend the SCO summit. So lots happening on the global front as well. So we'll just keep a close eye on all of these cues in today's trading session, Vinny.
Absolutely, that's what we'll be keeping an eye out on, all the important cues. But also, talking about the global cues, let's also kickstart the morning by talking about some of the important data points. US manufacturing activity edged lower in the month of June, deepening a recent slump on a continued weak demand, and the June data came in below the market expectation at 49.1%. Now, other than that, which is marking the third straight month of below the 50 reading on the index. Remember that June's data extended the recent slump, which began after a positive reading in March, briefly snapped the 16th straight month of contraction. The 8 manufacturing industries reported growth, but textile mills, transportation equipment and electrical equipment contracted during this time.
All right.